a tea tasting service featuring panoramic views across a sea of green tea leaves. And a machine that grinds and whisks up tasty matcha green tea for you. Today's on-site report features businesses that are hoping to rekindle demand for high-quality Japanese tea.
So today we're focusing on Japan's tea industry. For anyone that's visited Japan or has lived in Japan, you know that Japan's convenience stores and vending machines are just loaded with hot and cold, all types of different types of tea drinks. What is your tea preference?
Well, I tend to look for some of the unique teas when I go to the urban area, the rural areas of Japan, because they actually have a lot of different unique teas every time I go there, bottled teas, yes.
Yeah, I'm the same. You know, when you go to Okinawa, you get the special sanpincha, which is a type of jasmine tea, which is only offered in Okinawa, which I like. So, Raja, what has the tea market been like recently?
Well, actually, a lot of people are like you, Chi, who favor bottled tea. And this survey over here shows annual spending on tea, if we can get it up, here in Japan, has remained relatively flat for the past 2 decades, hovering around at $70 per household. But if we compare spending between tea leaves used for brewing in a teapot here in green and canned or bottled tea drinks in yellow over here, there's been a reverse in trends. Tea leaves used to hold the majority at nearly 60% back in 2003, but in recent years, bottled drinks have surpassed the 70% mark, making them the clear choice for many people. Now, this next graph I want to show you breaks down pricing changes of tea leaves depending on quality. In general, the ones used in bottled tea beverages tend to use lower quality leaves, type 3 over here, which are not too expensive. But the increased demand for them has negatively impacted sales for higher quality leaves, and that's caused these type 1 prices to drop significantly over the years.
Well, with the goal of revitalizing demand for higher quality leaves, a unique service is now being offered by tea farmers.
Shizuoka Prefecture holds the title of Japan's top tea leaf producer. With harvest season underway, 5th-generation farmer Honda Mohei's plantation is in full swing. In recent years, however, Honda says things are becoming difficult as sales to his biggest clients, beverage producers, have been on the decline.
When it comes to my main distribution channels, sales are definitely down. The beverage corporations have found ways of extracting more and more from each tea leaf. And that increase in efficiency for them has meant unsold leaves for farmers like me.
In response, Honda has started a service to attract a new type of customer, tourists from around Japan as well as from abroad.
Wow, fantastic.
This is really impressive.
While taking in views of the iconic Mount Fuji, guests can enjoy an expertly prepared cup of tea while sitting in the midst of his plantation's lush greenery.
I'm going to make some fresh tea for you now. It was just harvested this week. This fresh fragrance and flavor can only be enjoyed for about 1 month each year. Ah, it's delicious.
I usually just drink plain old bottled tea more than anything else because it's affordable. So being able to really savor the taste like this is pretty special. We're having a wonderful time.
If guests visit his farm between April and November, they can also try their hand at picking tea leaves. The 90-minute tasting experience is available year-round at a cost of about $25 per person. The idea for the service was first proposed by Tsuji Serika, the CEO of a tea-related consulting company.
I want to sell as much tea as possible. I think one way we can do that is through tourism. By drawing people in with the spectacular scenery, hopefully we can sell more local tea.
Tsuji's company has partnered with 6 tea farmers who own plantations throughout Shizuoka Prefecture. Since launching in 2019, over 18,000 visitors have paid for the experience. With inbound travelers on the rise and ever-increasing exposure thanks to social media, the number of annual visitors is only expected to grow. According to Honda, the majority of guests who come for the tea service also end up buying leaves from him during their visit. This year should mark a new milestone for his business, as he expects direct sales to average consumers to exceed sales to beverage manufacturers.
I think more and more people are placing importance on discovering new things and having unique experiences. And our plantation is really benefiting from that. We are now attracting all sorts of people, not just from across Japan, but from many different countries.
You know, visiting the tea farm and picking fresh tea is actually on my bucket list. I think the views in these places are just absolutely incredible. So, Chiun, what did you think of the services that they're offering?
Well, I think it's a wonderful idea because if you go to France, for example, you can go to wineries and taste it. And if you go to China, actually, they have same services in the middle of the tea farm. So you can not only buy the tea leaves, but also you can buy the teapots as well. I guess the next step is going to be, do you run a marathon?
I do not, and I never have, and I'm not sure I ever will.
You can do the marathon by drinking Japanese green tea matcha, because in France you know that you can drink wines when you do the marathon.
I did not know that.
Okay.
Well, maybe that's going to be a new trend here in Japan, then.
Yeah, hopefully. You know, in these days, people are trying to pay for the services, unique services. But I think it's important to link that service to the goods purchase because in the end, matcha core product is going to be there. And it will be interesting to have something like a special subscription to the people who only visited the place so that they can feel it special, which can create a differentiation. And also, by making more education and having visitors learn about the terroir of each plantation as well as the seasonal changes in flavor of the tea leaves, I think it could enhance the value as well as so it can lead to a newly increased willingness to purchase going forward.
Right, right. So, Raja, you know, this service is currently being offered by 6 farmers in Shizuoka. Do they plan to expand to different areas?
Well, the consulting company we saw is also working with tea farmers in Saitama Prefecture, just north of Tokyo. And they began offering a similar service just over a year ago. And it's helping them sell sayamacha, which is a famous type of high-quality tea only grown in that region.
Well, I'm looking forward to them expanding to different areas. Well, now I want to move on to matcha. So matcha is made by grinding specially grown tea leaves into a fine powder and then mixing it with water. And in recent years, it's become popular around the world, but it is most commonly served in lattes or as an ingredient in desserts and sweets. But I don't think there are many people who actually enjoy matcha by itself. Like this. The next company we visited is looking to change that.
This small tea plantation is nestled in the foothills of western Shizuoka Prefecture. Leaves for making a traditional type of powder-based green tea called matcha are grown here. By growing the plants under sunshades for a certain period of time before harvesting, they develop darker leaves that produce a richer flavor and aroma. Hoping to promote the sale of these specially grown tea leaves, Tsukada Eijiro is working to increase the popularity of matcha tea.
How many weeks until you harvest?
A bit longer, maybe 5 days.
I just love the color, and the young leaves look so soft.
Tsukada was originally involved in the development of various tea drinks at a major beverage manufacturer. He says that while matcha-based drinks caught on in the United States about 10 years ago, there weren't many options available for people to enjoy the true flavor of matcha.
Sweet drinks were quite common. They usually contained lots of milk or sugar to give them broader appeal. But authentic matcha tastes great as it is. It really doesn't need anything added to it. So I want to make it possible for more people to experience how delicious it can be on its own.
To make the traditional drink more accessible to a broad range of people, he developed a matcha maker. He decided to include a built-in grinder so it could process freshly ground matcha powder using tea leaves sourced from carefully selected farms. Traditionally, matcha is produced by grinding diced dried matcha leaves into a fine powder using a stone mill. His machine, however, uses a tiny ceramic mortar with a specially designed grinding surface that allows it to produce a matcha that is nearly identical to stone-milled powder. Grinding matcha powder just before preparing the tea ensures that the full flavor of the leaves can be enjoyed. When prepared by hand, the powder must be properly mixed with water using a special bamboo whisk called a chasen. The matcha maker makes use of a miniature whisk attached to the bottom of the server that is spun magnetically. Tsukada now displays his device at various trade events around the world in the hopes of reaching new audiences and increasing the appreciation for matcha.
Thank you very much. This is quite impressive. There's even like the perfect bubbles on top.
If we get the best coffee by grinding the beans, it makes sense to do it with tea. You know, grind the leaves. It's really impressive.
Our mission is to take this product overseas so we can find new customers who are looking for these kinds of quality products. I think once they see how good it really is, many will want to buy it. If more people start drinking high-quality tea and matcha on a regular basis, that will ultimately go back to the farmers. So we're doing our best to make that happen.
So we actually got to try the matcha made from this machine before the show. I thought it was really good. What did you think?
Yeah, I'm the person who likes to criticize everything, but that was actually good.
Yeah, it was surprisingly good. And you know, recently I've actually cut down on my coffee intake and have kind of been switching over to green tea and matcha, so I can completely see the appeal of this. But what did you think of this product and, you know, their strategy?
Yeah, I think it's very great to have a machine which is specialized in matcha, and also it gives you some carefully selected Japanese tea leaves as a set. I think people knowing that the green tea tea leaves are where it's coming from. For example, Kyoto's Uji City is very famous. Saimacha Raja mentioned, and also Yameshi in Fukuoka Prefecture, they also provide fine tea leaves. So if people get to know that there is a wide variety of where the production is coming from, they can differentiate, producers can differentiate more, and there are many people who want to pay premium for those differentiated products. So I think there's a much more room to grow going forward.
Definitely. So Raja, I want to know, how much does it cost?
Yes, a set that includes the matcha maker and 10 cups worth of dried tea leaves costs $299. The leaves are cut specifically to work well with the grinder, and the blend uses only high-quality leaves. Tsukada says he felt this was one way to help the domestic tea farmers who take the time and effort to produce the excellent tea. Now, his company has sold over 8,000 units of the matcha maker since it was released in 2020. And he says 80 to 90% of the sales so far have been in the United States. The current model that we saw was designed for personal use, but Tsukada's firm is now developing a commercial version to meet the needs of cafes and restaurants.
Wow, I must say that machine looks really cool. So Jiung, you know, I think that there's a lot of competition when it comes to tea, but I do think that there is so much untapped potential for growth when it comes to high quality Japanese tea.
Right. So do you like matcha products like chocolates or anything?
Yeah,
waffles?
sure.
Right, but you really don't know what's inside, meaning that the green tea powders are being used, which is different from matcha. They're coming from various countries, including China and Korea, because they also produce green leaves. But matcha, in definition, needs to be high qualified with a very special way to produce. So I think differentiating, setting a standard for that will be very important to differentiate going forward. And I think Japanese government has some room to work on it.
Definitely, setting the standard. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you very much.